All right. Good morning, Roger. How are you doing today?
Awesome. How are you?
Good. I've got some information to give you, but first I've got a geography question. Are you ready?
I am. It's not one of my strong suits, but I'm ready.
Okay. What state is known for its small soft drinks?
I don't know, Christian.
Minnesota.
Okay, I get it.
Pulled that one right out of the vault, Raj.
I did. There you go.
Well, I certainly didn't put you on this Zoom to make you listen to a whole bunch of jokes. So I wanted to first say thank you so much for your submission for the Jeep contest, the You versus You. We had a chance to review your submission, and it gives me the most pleasure and honor to announce you as a finalist, Roger. So
Yes.
Great job. I know you've really been thinking a lot about that Jeep, haven't you?
I've wanted to be Service Manager of the Year for a long time. And I've been laser focused to do that for sure.
Well, you've done some amazing things. Your story's great. Your results are great. And I think that you're very, very deserved to be a finalist. So keep doing that visualization. And we look forward to seeing you in Los Angeles for the Top Dog event.
Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to it also.
Welcome everybody to the big show, to Service Drive Revolution. We are profiling finalists from the Service Manager Challenge, where you can win my Jeep. I've been driving this Jeep, blasting country music, running people off the road, having a lot of fun, and it is that time. Say hello to everybody, Christian.
Hello, everyone. That was my country song.
We have one of our favorite people, Roger Pfeiffer, but the name is not spelled with an F, it's with a P. So it's a P that sounds like an F, right, Roger? Say hello.
That is correct.
Roger doesn't think I'm funny.
I think it's great.
Roger's like, that is correct.
Haven't heard that one before.
Great numbers here, Roger. So it's kind of interesting the way that this happened, in the sense that I remember the general manager of the store that you took over and turned around asked me if I knew who you were. And I was like, I couldn't believe they were going to get you. I was like, oh, he's going to Florida? I was like, wow, your job as a general manager's got a lot easier if you land him. Yeah. And so let's just go through your numbers really quick, the increase. So we have, we started off at 78 in CSI, ended it in 85, ELR 107, ELR 116. That's a huge jump for a Toyota store. 12.5 net to gross to 20.4 net to gross, and the numbers kept growing from there. But great stuff. So kind of in the sense, Roger, you've through your career kind of turned into a little bit of a turnaround guy, and that you've gone into some underperforming departments and turned them around. What do you think the 3 or 4 most important elements are to that recipe when you go in to turn around a department? Like, what are you thinking about? What are the first things you're attacking when you go in?
Well, I would tell you for sure, without a doubt, it's what you teach too. The customer experience, in my opinion, has to be second to none, because you can raise prices all you want to drive your effective labor rate, but that's not a scalable solution. It's not going to last. I feel it's I shouldn't even say I feel, I know it's the customer experience, along with raising the prices and making sure you have a good strategy. I just was at a store this week, did that, mystery shop, so what it was about there. And, people are just so surprised on what other people are charging. They think they're, overcharging people, and they're really not. So I would say that the 2 most important things are the customer experience and having a good pricing strategy. And the rest is I should say 3. having some motivation for the employees and getting a good culture going and having them buy in. That's really the key to it, the buy-in.
So you're really good at that part. What is your approach to that, and how do you when you walk in the first day, everybody's looking at you and they're like, oh, who's this guy? I think kind of like me, you look a little intimidating. You're confident and soft-spoken in your ways, so it's hard for people to read us, right? And so that makes them a little nervous, I think, sometimes. How do you approach that when you're coming in to get everybody kind of rowing in the same direction and thinking the same way?
So it's funny you say that, because we could just talk about this Toyota store that I came to. When I walked in there, it was a month before COVID hit, and they had a guy that was there for 13 years, kind of just sat in his office, didn't really do much, didn't get out and kind of, connect with the employees or talk or, actually get in the trenches and work with them if need be, or hop on the service drive and move a car, as minimal as that may sound. So what I did was when I came in there, I just interviewed people. I just started interviewing them, and I just looked for their pain points. What were they really struggling with? And I kind of just collectively put that together. And one night, when I first got there, one night at home, I'm just going through my notes, and truly it just hit me. These people just wanted to be led. They just wanted a direction. So that was kind of I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew where I could take the store. They gave me some numbers when I first got there, the general manager and the vice president at the time, where they wanted the store to go and gross profit. And they said they never hit it before, and they feel that we could get there. And I just left the office saying, wow, I think your ceiling's too low. And I just went to work. I just started really just getting out and working side by side with the employees, technicians too, kind of just going out every morning. I made sure I, said good morning, I little just conversations. And then the advisors specifically, I really worked hand in hand on coaching them and getting them to think a little differently. And in the midst of all this, COVID hits, and I have to get rid of staff and all. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to turn these numbers that, I kind of wrote a check for? And I just, quite honestly, I just stared it down. I just knew that it was going to be possible. And I just kept moving with the same idea that I had before. Just keep working with everybody. Just keep doing what you know how to do. And, as the results started to come, we started our morning meetings. We started technician morning meetings. I was involved in every single one every day. And I made sure I was there early, stayed late. I just showed them that I was the guy that they could count on. And they just started to believe in me, because they started to see that I was willing to get out and do the work with them. And the magic just started happening, because then they started to turn results, and they were starting to get wowed themselves.
Yeah, that's good. Would you say the fourth thing on the list would be the ability to recruit techs?
Well, that's sort of a secret weapon I have. Long ago, me and you had a challenge, and I lost to that challenge, and I swore that would never happen again. And I just, that's one thing. And I would say that it's kind of easier in Florida. It's not like you're trying to recruit techs in, South Dakota. It is a little bit easier in Florida, but, some people still down here think it's impossible. Even, I go to stores in Mobile, Alabama now, Pittsburgh, and they tell me the same thing, can't find techs. And, what are you doing? Well, I'm just running an ad. Well, of course, let's talk through that. There's more to do for sure. And then when they start to see them, they're like, wow, it is possible. So I would say, yes, I would say that's definitely a secret weapon that I have, that is definitely a unique ability and I don't, let's go back a little bit. I don't think it's a unique ability. I just think it's a mindset.
Yeah.
You say this all the time. If you believe that there's no techs out there, you're 100% right. And they said the same thing in this Toyota store when I first got there. Yeah, I don't know how you're going to find techs. And even the service manager that was, I worked with, he said, he was there for a while. He says, Roger, we really can't find technicians. I don't know, what we're going to do. I was like, all right, just give me a little bit of time. And then he started believing, because the moment you get one, you get two. And then, as we always talked about, the momentum just starts to go, right? You start getting phone calls, you start getting emails, people walk through the door. So, they just became believers.
Yeah, you said a word that struck a chord with me, belief. So a priest
Such a segue.
and a Jeep owner, they die at the same time.
Wait, slow down. So
Priest and a Jeep owner,
both
tragically die at the same time.
tragically die.
Tragically. So they head up to the pearly gates of heaven. There's an angel there. I don't know if the angel was like real estate agent heaven style or not, but just kind of what it seems like happened. So the angel looks at the priest and says, "Good Father, I give you 50 acres of land, some of the best land heaven has to offer, a wonderful cottage for you to live in for the rest of your eternal life here. You'll never be hot, you'll never be cold, you'll never be hungry, you'll never be tired. You will go on and live blissfully with your 50 acres. Now go on, my child." Turns to the Jeep owner and says, "You, my son, will take 500 acres of the best that heaven has to offer. There will be beautiful terrain, a mansion for you to live in, and an indestructible Jeep for you to drive whenever you want." The Jeep owner looks at the angel and says, "I think you might have this backwards. Like, you gave the priest 50 acres and you're giving me 500 acres and a really cool indestructible Jeep. Like, I think you have that backwards." And the angel looks at the Jeep owner and says, "My child, when the priest spoke to his flock, they fell asleep. When you drove your Jeep, people prayed."
If you're listening to this, let me describe Roger's face for you.
It's perfect.
Disappointment?
I love
Would you
it.
say it's a face of disappointment?
Yeah, for sure. He's like, "Really? That was like 20 minutes."
Roger, you kind of went over this really fast, but I think, and I'm not bringing this back up for any other reason that I think that the lesson is the important thing in this, and you touched on it when you're saying mindset. But the bet that we had about hiring techs. So that bet, you got to help me because I don't remember, but I think it was 8 techs in 45 days.
I remember it like it happened yesterday. It was 8 techs in 45 days.
You got 7. You actually, I think you had 8, but one guy showed up, and the stupid service manager told the guy. I mean, the lesson in that too is we were doing it for the manager. He wasn't really vested in the outcome, right? So he told the tech that his toolbox was too big and ran him out because of the size of his toolbox, not his ability to turn wrenches. Ouch. So you lost it by 1.
Yep.
Am I remembering that right?
Yep. That's almost exactly how it happened.
Yeah. Crazy. But the thing that I think you said there is it's like at the end of the day, people perceive it to be magic or a unique ability, but really it's just doing it.
Yeah, you say it all the time. It's the rule of 5, but 10 is better. And that's truly, there's no one thing that you can do. And I say it all the time. If you want to go fishing, you got to fish with different baits. And, you just got to try different things. And if that doesn't work, try something else.
It's funny when people ask us, they're like, "Well, how do you do it? How do you hire techs?" And I'm like, "I don't know. We just do." Like, it isn't, there's everybody wants this magic pill. And like you said, the most important part is stop saying you can't. And then you got to start doing stuff. But too many people out there are like, "Oh, I ran an ad, it didn't work." And it's like, "Well, where'd you run the ad?" "Well, on Indeed." And it's like, there's there's 100 different ways to do things, but if it's not working, then you would change the way you would think you would change what you're doing, but it's easier sometimes to just say, "Oh, I tried, it didn't work."
Yeah, for sure. And I just looked this statistic up this week because I was talking to a service manager. So there's over 17,000 new car dealerships in the country. And I just asked them, do they have service departments in the back of them? Do they have technicians working in them? Why are they working there and not here? Like, you just got to think differently, right? There's people out there, and the good ones aren't looking. That's the thing. The good ones aren't looking. You got to go find them.
What do you think happens with service managers that they sort of get in a sense, what it feels like from the outside is they're paralyzed with fear of change or paralyzed with fear of doing something wrong and making a mistake. And so they choose doing nothing.
I think you have that hit right on the head. I think it's complacency also. They just get complacent and say, this is all we could do. Times are changing and this is all we could do. But, I never subscribed to that. As far as doing something wrong, I'm always the guy that would rather beg for forgiveness than ask for permission. Because there's the worst thing can happen is you just have to say, hey, it didn't work out and I'm going to do something else. Right. That's all right, let's just try something else and figure it out. But I would agree with you 100%.
Well, I think that a lot of managers though go to the other end where they're only focused on the if it doesn't work out that they're going to lose their job or they're going to get fired. Like they never even think for a second, well, what if I try it and it works? One thing that I'll say about Roger that's very, very unique in relation to him versus some of the other people that we've worked at is Roger has like this really relentless pursuit of goal. And you can put in whatever you want. You can put in technician hiring, you can put in gamification, you can put in, customer experience. But the thing that Roger brings to the table is that he's relentless. So I think that that's probably one of the things that you might be glancing over in terms of a skill set that's important for service managers coming up or into it, or if you're stuck, like you have to adopt that relentless attitude that like you're not going to lose. And I like that competitiveness, and I think that that's something that is a lesson for a lot of us, is that you're not going to do things one way. You're going to go through every door, every window, dig a hole, whatever it is, but you just don't quit till it's done. And I think that's probably a really good lesson for technician hiring, plus a bunch of other stuff. But
Do you think, Roger, that that's something that you learned, or do you think that that's something that you sort of always had?
I always had the mentality that I always wanted to win. I never knew what I was winning, but I just wanted to win. I always had that mentality. Coming up in the game, probably, I probably had that little fear when I, first started out, like I think we all do. But I quickly realized that on the other side of that fear was the reward. So, I started to push through that, and, I just, as again, momentum in that just starts, right? As you start to just, shoot them off the barrel, if you will. The things that you're going through. And I use that too. Like I tell people, I'm going to get done whatever I want to get done, through you, over you, under you, around you, however it takes, I'm going to get it done one way or the other. And if I have to do it myself, I'll do it. Doesn't matter. And maybe that's, just my drive just takes me there.
Do you think that comes from your upbringing, like your parents, or hardship when you were younger? Can you trace it back to anything in your younger days?
I've sat and thought about this, over the past couple of years. I've had some life-changing events, and I've kind of, reflected on a lot of things. And I will tell you that I don't think it's so much my upbringing. I feel that, when I got into this business, I started out as a technician, and I quickly saw that I wanted to be the manager. And it was just a relentless pursuit. And I wanted to climb up the ladder as fast as I could. And I did. I ran up the ladder, I didn't look back. And I just think the constant wanting to get more and more and more, and, maybe in my life that's hurt me in some areas, but it's never enough for me. It's never enough. Like I always want more. So, all right, we had a record-breaking month, in Toyota, 6 months into that situation. They told me they want to do, they never hit $750,000 in fixed gross. I said, okay, 6 months in with COVID, we hit $1 million and never looked back after that. So again, and it wasn't enough for me. Like I wanted more. So, I never really stopped sometimes, and that's probably, a fault of mine. I don't stop to enjoy the result, if you will. But, I think that this goes to what I've achieved so far too.
I think another thing that, and you just touched on it a little bit, but I also like that, was Roger said when it comes to technicians, he's trying to get the people that aren't looking for a job. So the thing that I would say that another really great lesson, and I think that we were kind of hitting on that, is that one of the reasons that we're so successful is all the rules that everybody assumes, we actually almost assume the opposite, right? When someone tells us they've got something going good, we assume that it's probably not going as good as they think that it is. And if you're just using an ad, you can place an ad in 50,000 different places, but if you're trying to find somebody that's not looking for a job, your ad's pretty worthless, right? Like you've got to do something to get in front of people, and that involves going outside the normal realm of possibility. So I think that maybe a good lesson is that anything's possible. Like you said, as long as it's not illegal, that's totally okay. See?
What I find too is everybody's looking for the unicorn. They just think the unicorn's going to land in front of them.
Yep, or the easy button. Yeah, for sure.
And that's, if that was the case, everybody would do it, right? So, it's just a weird, again, it just goes back to mindset. And then the momentum starts to go once you start getting there. You got to believe it's true. You got to speak it into existence, see it into existence, and just know that you're going to get there one way or the other.
Well, I find too for us is I think it's more fun when it's complicated and other people give up easy, because that's our advantage in the marketplace. So if we make it fun to attack challenges and figure out a way to overcome the obstacles, and everybody else is sitting there talking about how hard it is, we have a huge advantage in the marketplace.
For sure.
And it seems like that gap is getting wider and wider. It seems like, especially with COVID and morale and politics, people are more and more discouraged and they give up easier. And so there's never been a time for guys like us to, perform, I guess.
Yeah, stake the claim.
Great stuff.
It's easier just to stay in your cave, right? Not look outside.
Totally. Well, we're excited to see you next week.
Me too. I can't wait. I'm seeing that and speaking that Jeep into existence.
It's going to be fun. Roger's trying to get us to...
I even wore my orange shirt just to get ready.
Is Roger texting you a lot?
He sent me a couple texts.
Yeah, interesting.
That's awesome.
We love you,
Roger. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Love doing it. Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Drive Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.